So, good evening, everybody. Just a minute. So, good evening, everybody. Namaste on Facebook. And today we are bringing yet again another topic. It's the 19th episode that we are on right now. And this is a Jhatpat Fatafat episode. In fact, Aarti was just given a call 5 minutes back and said, "Hey, would you like to talk?" And she said, "What?" So, yeah, would you like to talk? Just go wear a little bit of your makeup if you want to. Otherwise, you look pretty as you are. And just come online. So, deep acknowledgement to Aarti Desai and to Dhruti Sampath for being here. Unfortunately, all other panelists today couldn't make it, and that's perfectly all right. The last minute changes in your life depict the last minute changes that happen in our life. We create so many plans, programs, we do research, and then things don't go the way we want them to go. And what do? We get scared of it. We start panicking. Maybe they were never supposed to talk and they were never supposed to be the part of this panel discussion. What's interesting, the lady who was making our creatives for all this time, her mom's fallen unwell and she's actually slipped in the bathroom. So right now she's in the hospital taking care of her mom. And some of the speakers were with me in the workshop till about half an hour back in another workshop. So they obviously had other errands to run, and so they are not there. There were two guests who were called from Egypt. I think there was a miscommunication of understanding between English and an Egyptian language. So great. Whatever is there is the best. And so today we are talking about what really is respect. So, namaste everybody again. I am Dr. Anu Mehta. I'm the pioneer in the field of meta health, advanced clearing energetics, matrix reimprinting, and information medicine in India. These, I did not create these were already existing. I just brought these education to India. Along with that, I'm training in a lot of areas, including art and color and all those modalities which are nonverbal. And For me, this topic is close to my heart. What is respect? And this was sent to me by Yogini. And unfortunately, she is also not available today. It's her topic. And I feel respect is not what you show outside. Respect is how you feel inside. I've never felt that if I touch someone's feet, that's respect. But for many, many, many of us, if someone does not touch your feet, you feel disrespected. Somebody does not smile at you in a certain way, you feel disrespected. So my idea of respect may be entirely different. Let's ask our panelists. Ruti, if you can introduce who you are and why is this topic so close to your heart? Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Dhruti Sampath. I am an EFT practitioner plus matrix reprinting practitioner, and I am a certified child psychologist. Um, and this topic is very close to my heart as I have been struggling a lot with this topic. So the definition of respect for me and my in-laws has always been different. So as Anu said, respect for me has never been touching the feet or doing the normal chores. But yes, for them, all these things were very important. And this is how the conflicts occur in a relationship. So this topic really is close to me.
Thank you. That was very, very brave to pick up two things. One, in-laws,
Yeah.
and one, there seems to be like a difference of value system between the two families, which can be easily misinterpreted, misconcorded, and distorted because we stand in our own perceptions. How we were taught in our childhood by our parents may be very different from how our husbands are taught about things in their childhood. Until
True.
and unless the parents of the boy want to bring up the girl or the vice versa and have the same value system. I also believe two sisters, two brothers brought up in the same house may not have the same value system, personal value system. So, very good point brought forth, Dhruti, and we will go further on to it. Arti, over to you. If you can please introduce who you are and why is this topic so close to heart, and again acknowledgement that you just dived in. Thank you. I love your energy. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. So my name is Aarti. I am one of Anu's students. So I have studied with Anu, Meta, EFT, matrix reimprinting, colors, and they all have contributed a lot in my life. And I'm also an animal communicator. I work a lot with animals. And when we are talking about respect, it's I would really like to bring about how can we respect animals. Its respect is not only with humans, it's about how we humans need to respect animals. What is it that I want does not contribute with what another person is wanting. And that's where the line of respect is there, be it a human or an animal. So I think that would be an amazing thing to not only see what about respect about us, but are we respecting the other animals or plants or be it any other species that's living with us, coexisting with us, are we respecting? So respect will become an important topic because again, we as humans are always fighting with this whole conflict of being respected and not being respectful. So how Dhruti also said, I had my own journey when I got married, and the respect factor with the in-laws are there. The expectation of respect is a certain way because again, our upbringings are different. Environment is different, so the definition of respect keeps changing. So thank you, Anu, for letting me dive in.
Thank you so much. You have no idea how beautiful that is kind of resonating. Okay. So, two things that Aarti brought about. Uh, it's like more like when a community does not get what it needs, like a community of animals does not get respected. It's because we are making probably them invisible and that we don't even acknowledge that they may have certain needs. And we are doing and giving them, we think just giving them food, just, oh, we have got them to our house and we are doing a big deal. We need to be then very, very mindful to see what are we really doing. Are we respecting the community or are we in our own stories? And that's a very, very interesting point that you put forth, Ati. The other one saying that, and you validated what Dhruti said, that yes, uh, the interaction between the in-laws and yourself changes because the value system of the two places may be entirely different. So coming back to Dhruti, actually before I come to you, I will talk about my own life so that it becomes more easier for us to talk in the similar lines. So let me search through my space and see when and where have I felt disrespected. If I search through my whole life, I would say that meaning of respect changed for me throughout. It wasn't the same. As a small child, if someone crossed my boundary or territory, and I cannot, I've brought this up before and it feels like a beaten record, but when this man who was 67-year-old tried touching me and I was all of 6, he walked into my space. He disrespected my space. He did not ask me whether I wanted what he intended. He was taking care of his need. He wasn't taking care of my need. He was creating a need in me by sexually touching me that I didn't even know existed. And this I felt was disrespect. When I was getting married and before I was getting married, my mom was so eager that I get married. She was so busy howling and crying at times. And it felt more like that I had something less in me because all the Punjabi boys around the place were not educated enough, according to her. And I got too educated. You can hear, you're not little, you're too much. Got too educated to fit into the whole story. So my community couldn't have accepted me, and I felt that again my territory was being violated because what I was in my territory wasn't either enough or wasn't, how do you say, cool enough or less or more, too much, too much. As a child, I was too little. As an adult, I was too much. But it was more about my space not being acknowledged and somebody saying something to me. Very recently, something happened, and it's a very stupid example, but my son wore my shoes, not metaphorically, in reality. I'd got three pairs of shoes from UK, the Toms, and I love them. That's what is my everyday attire. I can fit into my Toms in anything. My son first came and said, "Mom, can I wear your that shoe?" And I said, "Okay, beta, le lo." So gone were the black shoes of mine. And when they really became Raddi, he comes back and now they're sitting in my mom's house. Second pair of shoe was also udawed. And the third pair, I did not let him touch. So I'll break your little bones into small, small pieces if you touch it. And I meant every word of what I was saying. But the other day, we were going down with my dog to make her walk, and he slipped into my shoes again because they are too comfortable. I only wear comfortable stuff. Otherwise, I feel like a Christmas tree. So we went down, we came up, and for the next 3 days, I couldn't trace where my shoes were. I felt disrespected. That someone had got into my shoes, not metaphorically, in reality, and they were not given to me back in the state that they were. In fact, there was no gratitude, there was no acknowledgement. It was more like, why are you making it such a big deal? Well, I think if I didn't make it a big deal even then, what would happen would be disastrous. My mother asked me the same question when I told her about my abuse that had happened at 40 years of age. Why are you making it such a big deal? Don't tell anyone. And the society was telling me, why am I making it such a big deal about marriage? It happens to everyone. Just sit there, fluff yourself up, and say, okay, fine. My Prince Charming is come and now let me get married. That was my experience. Let's go over to Dhruti and to Aarti and ask them. Let's start with Aarti. Aarti, have you had any such experience in your personal life where you felt disrespected? It could be small things to big things. I would really appreciate, or you felt that animals were not respected. Thank you.
On a personal front, yes. Again, as you had introduced yourself and spoken about touching the feet or addressing someone the way they want you to address. And when I would not address a person with because that person is elder or you need to touch their feet, it was like you don't know how to respect. But I always believe respect comes from my heart. I might not touch a person's feet, but I will respect that person from my heart and I'll go out of my way and do that thing for that person. But again, if I'm forced to do something, I am not feeling respected. And in the same way, if an animal is forced to do something, as humans, we love to control. We do not want to give choices. And when I don't give a choice to my animal, I am controlling him, I am disrespecting him. So it really comes up to the same thing, be it for a human or an animal. So for my cat who's come, she is the one who doesn't like to be, I should not be all over her. So she has her boundaries. And I realized that I have my boundaries. I have a space where I don't want people to enter. I need my own space at times. I don't want to speak to people at times. And that should be okay. But sometimes you're not given that space. No, you have to interact with people. You have to speak to them. And it's just that maybe I don't resonate with that person, what the person is saying. The same thing goes with an animal. He wants his space. And I'm going and, because I'm in love with my animal, so I'm going and touching it, petting it. And that's when I realized that if an animal is saying, I do not want to be touched, and that's respect for that animal. And when he wants to be touched, when he wants to be petted, he will come to me or she will come to me, and that should be okay with me. So there is
Wow.
an ego clash also that happens with us as humans that no, you didn't let me You didn't speak to me that time, so now I will not speak to you. It's like a punishment we give to each other. So that has happened with me in my personal life. And I see that happening, that we do that with our animals. So I'm much more aware with it now because I'm working with animals, trying to understand what they want. And I think they tell us very equally. It's same thing with children. We force our children, we force them to eat something. They don't like it. As parents, we should be okay. We don't want to force our kids to eat that. So that's all about respect for me.
So beautifully said, Aarti. So beautifully packed it up into a sum total. Dhruti, have you had experiences where you've not felt respected?
Yeah, a lot many times. And I would completely agree with what Aarti said. I have had similar experiences in my personal life. Plus, I would just like to add more to it, saying that in the process, we forget respecting ourselves. We try to fit in the situation, we try to bend things, and we just try to gain that acknowledgement from others, whereas we don't realize that we are disrespecting ourselves by doing that. So sometimes it's okay, even if people feel that you are not respecting them. But
It's a
the first, yeah,
respect for self, yes.
yeah, in the interim, we miss respect for self. We lose that.
So, can you give a concrete example of it?
So I would say that to fit in the new family wherein you've been married, this is the cultural trend which goes on. You've been asked to do things which maybe are not according to your values. You may not want to do that. Like you may not want to touch the feet of some person, maybe because of any XYZ reason. But you've been forced to do that. You don't want to interact with that person, but still you have been forced to do that. So in that process, you've been forced so much, so that boundaries are broken. You have to kind of go talk to that person, be nice, whereas internally you are not feeling nice speaking to that person, but you still have to do it because the other person is expecting that from you. And if you don't do it, you are definitely in a blacklist. Okay, this is this person is not an ideal bahu.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm wondering whether this only happens when you get married, or have the boundaries ever been violated even when you're not married? Like, let's say when I was just 24, and my mom was getting really, really worried about me and constantly talking about that I should have got married. And by the way, things at that point at 21 had become really difficult. So 21 to 23, it wasn't anyone outside my house who was violating my space. It was my mom who was so busy trying to find some right kind of a person for me, and it wasn't going with my value system. I did not agree with it. And it's so interesting that I even hear today the same stories going on. I mean, I've been now married for 28 years, so it's been a lifetime, yet it feels as if the story is going on even now, and seems to be there is a slim line between being protective and being disrespectful. And that's how I felt, not respected, not asked, not, it was more like it's, you reached an age, and with that age you need to now fit into a specific role. And if you couldn't perform that role, or you couldn't fit into, or people did not think that you were good enough for that role, then you may not be attractive enough, good enough in many, many ways. So Dhruti, have you had any experiences before marriage, or which could also be put in the similar story of not feeling respected? Have you ever felt that there's a slim line between being protective? I'm sure she did not mean, my mom did not mean to put it in the wrong way. She just wanted the best for me, but that's not how I perceived it at that point. Any of these stories that touch your heart, or you have any of these stories going on in your space? Thank you.
Yeah, so definitely, even during our childhood, I have faced such situations and wherein I have felt not respected, and there have been things I would not say they forced me. I was always given a choice. That boundary was always there with them. So, but yes, at times there have been situations where you feel not respected, where I felt not respected with them also.
And what could you put it more specifically? Like, I did not feel respected, maybe by XYZ. It could be a teacher, it could be a parent at home, it could be a sibling who you felt disrespected by.
So I would say I was the elder one in the family, and I had a third sister who was challenged, and she needed more attention and more help from my mother. So at that age, it was very difficult for me to understand that she needs more attention, and that is why mom and dad are behind her and taking more care of her. So that is where I had felt that my boundary is violated. I'm not getting the attention that I need from them.
Wow. So, does that story even persist today? That if someone else gets more attention, you may not be equipped even today to understand that person probably needs more attention is how the other person feels. May not go well with your value system. Does that even happen today?
So earlier, yes, it used to happen, but after so much of studies, even the work with you and everything, I am in awareness now that okay, this is there. Now I need to pause. I need to think what am I doing?
Wow, that's a
And I
big
cannot change the other person. I have to see what I am doing and I clear my space over there.
wow, that's a big step forth. Same question to you, Arti. Have you ever felt there is a slim line between respect and protective? Have you ever felt before marriage, even though you were living in the same value system, the parents are the ones who are giving you the value system? Did you ever feel still that your boundary was violated or you were not respected in any whichever way or they overstepped the protection net? Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I went through that. So we are three sisters. My elder sister was taken that she's the elder sister. So we all had to look at her with the respect and everything that she's the elder one. She can do anything what she wants. And me and my younger sister were always treated as equal. So you and Kusum have to be the same. And I had to share my clothes with her, which I was not sometimes okay with as a kid. And I was forced to do that. But with Manisha, she would have her own set of things, her own set of things. So she was given more importance as she's the elder. And I always felt that I am also elder compared to Kusum. So at least there should be some kind of difference over there or some kind of equality over there. And I do see that that pattern is there within me even as I grow up, that I want equality in everything. I don't want someone to be more superior. Everyone for me is equal. So I think that's what carried forward in my married life also, because whenever I had a conflict with my mother-in-law, it would always be that if my husband can do something, I can also do something. It has to be same. It has to be equal for both of us. So if something is wrong for me, it's wrong for him. If something is right for him, it's right for me. So I think that is what I carry forward today and even today. And I've made peace with that because I always voice it. At that time as a kid, maybe I didn't voice it. Even if I would voice it, my dad would yell because as kids you're so scared of your father, and I would be like, okay. But deep down I know I never used to like, and I still today speak to my sister about one specific jeans I remember. And I used to say, I didn't like to give that to you, but you always were behind that. And I know that, but now also, but I voice it to my mother-in-law, no, this is not right, and I don't agree with it. So that's the difference to the younger me to what I am today.
Wow, that's like, it is more like that what you feel as respect means that if you were treated equal and there was no hierarchy because somebody is older than, younger than, somebody is more wiser or more just because of the age, that should not be the criteria, or the gender differences, uh, if they're applied to you, you would not like that at all. And yeah, I think our society is very caught up in gender biases and these stories. So thank you for bringing that up. And that takes me into the next questioning round, where I'm looking at the genders and saying, was there ever a time when I felt disrespected because I was a woman? Other than the, the abuse and the touch and all, that's one part of it. But it's not like men don't get touched in the wrong way. But I'm just thinking loudly, was there anything in my space? Yeah, I clearly remember two incidents. One, which is very silly actually. Um, if anything did not open in my house, like the door is jammed or things are not working, being the elder one, I was called forth and said, Ye khol do. And I would do this and it would open. Now that may be opening up because I was hatta katta baby and still am. Not a baby anymore, but a woman. Now, I was given the role of more of a boy. In fact, I remember my mom never wanted me to cut my hair, but I wanted to be in that role. And at some point during my teen years, out of rebel, I went and cut my hair, though so short, so short. So when I came back home, I thought she's going to throw me out of the house. It was a different thing. She looked at me and said, Hey, that looks nice. But it's almost like saying I'm cutting off from a role and exploring myself into another role and putting myself there and saying, maybe I will get more respect and maybe I will be able to avoid a number of things because now I'm not a woman, but I'm more doing the gender roles that a man would be able to do. Also, being the first girl who walked out of my house to actually work, it felt more like, again, I was breaking gender biases. But I remember more like around my marriage where I felt it was a pain to be a girl. It's like as if, oh my God, she's going to go and get pregnant somewhere. If I was a boy, that story would have never happened. I can't even imagine turning to an age of 28, 29, and my parents not having a fire brigade outside trying to douse off the fire. They would have been burnt by then. So they really specifically wanted me to fit into certain roles that maybe I wasn't comfortable. And I think it's still going on. Very recently, my son has shown interest in someone and he wants to get married. And I suddenly popped up and said, Oh my God, mother in law's role. No, 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 that cannot. What was I thinking? Disrespecting his space and saying, I'm not going to grow up? What was I thinking? So I realized it's not that you are ready or being forced or not forced. Life, you have to be ready and can't be rigid and say this role is not for me and this role is for me. You have to be adapting into role to respect others. By being rigid, we are just disrespecting ourselves. So I've given you various topics where I feel that my rigidity came in my way. My rigidity of not wanting to be this particular conventional woman came in my way, and right now is again standing in my way. I would ask Druti Sampath, what is your view on the whole story?
Regarding this respect thing, can
Yes.
can you come up with the question again, Anu?
The question is, can your stubbornness be the cause of other people's disrespect? Like my stubbornness to be not wanting to be in a certain role. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
think, oh my God, what was I thinking? If my son is going to be 27, 28, he's not going to find a life partner? Is my fear not going to let me move ahead? Could it be my fear, my not readiness for a certain role that would take me away and not let me develop certain relationships? Could that be a stubbornness in me, the way I want to see myself? Could that be dealt with in a different way? Can you be having certain stubbornnesses in you, which is not letting you explore certain relationship, not letting you explore your life in a better way?
Yeah, definitely. I
Could
completely agree to it.
could you quote a few
So
here? Why would you agree with it?
So I would say if I dislike any person, or if maybe I have judged the person in a particular way, and if I've been asked to like go close to that person, then it's a no for me. So that is where I feel at times I get rigid or I get stubborn, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And that then the matter of choice comes for me. It's my choice whether I do it or not.
So let me get the trap properly. It's a trap, it's a mouse trap for us. So your trap is
Yeah.
your trap is you decide who you will like or not like.
Yeah.
And that's your way of showing that you will not like by having a choice of not meeting that person.
Yeah.
And when if somebody else says you don't like this person and you're not meeting, you may not like that.
Yeah.
You will deny it till the last minute, till the last day of your life and say, no, I like the person, but that's a choice I took. It has got
No,
nothing.
so I have been very honest there. I say I dislike the person and I don't want to kind of meet that person very
Wonderful.
often.
Do you have a reason for disliking a person?
Maybe on the past experiences, I have judged the person, I have seen how the person works, and that is where maybe I get stuck.
Wonderful. So, does that mean that people don't change, only you change?
No, that doesn't mean that to me.
Just asking. Maybe it doesn't mean, but I'm just bringing it up. Could it be that just like you are capable of studying and changing your perceptions, it could be quite possible that people have other ways of changing and actually becoming likable, but we never go over there because it's been too hurtful back in time?
Yeah.
So, are we saying that that might look like it's disrespect, but actually you're trying to save yourself from the hurt of something over there? Because if that person doesn't like you, don't like the person, you'd give yourself a choice of not connecting with that person.
Yeah. True.
Or in my case, it's not disliking anyone. In my case, it's disliking the role. The mother-in-law has been painted in such a concocted, horrible manner. Even stepping into that space makes me feel, oh no, it's the same thing.
I yeah, I have not reached that phase, so I don't know that space.
It's like going to college, it's like becoming a mother. People may
Yeah.
not want to be a mother, not because they don't like a child, but may not want to be a mother because they dislike the idea of what comes with it. You may not want to connect with so-called XYZ because you are feeling that, oh my God, if I connect to this person, the package deal that comes with this person, despite me disliking this person, I will have to do XYZ. I'm just trying to bring the common factors over here together.
Yeah. So
And
it's like the package that comes, sorry to interrupt, it's like the package that comes with the person, I may be forced to do things. And force is something which doesn't work with me.
it's so complicated, and thank you so much. It's so complicated. It's we who decide what is respect, and we who decide
Yeah.
feel dislike. It's we who decide what roles are not suitable for us because we want to be looking into a specific way in life, a fixed way in life. Oh my God. It's a fear that's driving us not to do certain things. Arti, what's your
True.
experience here? Thank you, Ruti. That very, very from here. Yes.
When you gave the example of you being the elder one and you were told कि इसको ठीक कर दो, उसको ठीक कर दो, I saw that happening with my elder sister. She was the eldest and she was always said, you're the boy. And we were the girls. So we had to be very protected life. You can't do this. And we were brought up in a very different manner. And she was brought up in a very tough and rough. And I remember for the longest time, she had a boy cut and we had really long hair. And my dad never wanted us to cut our hair. And I think once I finished my college, not even my college, my 10th or 12th, I went and cut my hair because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I mean, she's allowed to keep her short hair. although I didn't understand that she's going through her own ups and downs because she was not allowed to be a woman. And when and now things are like shifting for her. She doesn't want to do these things. She doesn't want to, like, if I tell her, okay, Manisha, pick up this bag, she's saying, no, I don't want to pick it up. I'm not doing it because she doesn't want to do the role of a man. And she's getting into more aware of her femininity. So that's what I've seen in my space, in my house as I've grown. And today I understand her point of view, that what she's gone through. And I, on the other hand, always felt that Manisha is on the upper hand. She's getting, she's the eldest. She's the favorite of my dad, and because she's the first child, she had her own. She's respected in a certain manner, and I am not respected in a certain manner. And as we were growing, we didn't realize this, but as I started working with a lot of with EFT matrix, these things started coming up for me, and I was quite surprised that, oh, okay, I went through this. Or all this while I thought my childhood was very good. I had very loving parents. It's only when I digged in deeper, I said, okay, I have these kind of fears. I have these insecurities that's there within me. And I think that took forward even into my married life, which you were speaking about the roles that we play. And it's the roles when I play, it's I feel disrespected in a certain role because probably I saw my mother doing certain things and she went through certain things. And then as a kid, I decided, no, that's not what I want to be defined as. And I think
Oh,
whatever experiences that I had in my married life, I didn't want to be exactly like my mother. And everyone told me, you're a carbon copy of your mother. Until today, my mom says, oh, you are exactly like me because you like the same things. We might choose the same clothes, same colors. And it's now that I started telling her, no, I'm not you. I have my own life. And my life is not going to be what your life has been. And because those were the boundaries that she didn't create in her life. And today I see that she didn't create those boundaries, but I want to create that boundaries in my life. So yes, somewhere we become stubborn because of the experiences that we had. And it's not that the other person is wrong, but the other person has had their experiences, they have their box of definition, and the world has lived in that definition, so they want us even to fix in that definition. For example, when I got married, it was like the woman of the house only has to cook. There is no cook who's going to enter this house. And I was like, no, I am not going to get into cooking. I told my husband, I will cook, I will learn for you, but it's not something I want to do it every day. And I liked cooking, but the way I was pushed to do cooking, I just took a setback. Like right now, I can say like I hate to be in the kitchen. I hate to cook because the way it was pushed to me that you have to do this, you have to do that, and when that have to comes, that you are a woman, you're a woman, woman needs to do this. Again, the gender thing comes over here, and which kinds of I think clicks the wrong button in my system when the have to comes, that you have to do this. And I think that rebellion kid comes out of me, and I say, no, I don't want to do this now. It's like I fight it there, and that's what happens. I start fighting, I start resisting that, and then obviously that's the conflicts that we are creating in our own lives.
so what I'm understanding is it's not just the role that you will play, or it's the society pushing you, because I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. I was 24, I was teaching in a college, I was doing extremely well. My life didn't have any such saga. Oh my God, you're not getting married. At 24, I was already married. By 25, already had a kid. But it felt like more of a burden to the society that I wasn't getting married. In fact, there was a standing joke that if I'm standing in, I used to cross those two Maidans to go to Nirmaniketan College where I used to teach. These two oval Maidans that were there in the middle between the railway station and Nirmaniketan College, I actually thought I should plant a board over there and put over there, anybody wants to get married to me, please, because my parents are getting very jittery. They think I will be unmarried and will be producing babies out of the wedlock. Now, what I'm trying to get at is, could it be possible that we are trying to conform to certain roles, trying to keep our mom and dad happy, trying to keep our husband happy, trying to keep our in laws happy? trying to keep the whole world happy. And somewhere in the whole story, maybe disrespecting ourselves. We have never sat down and actually had a conversation with anyone. And even if you did, they may not understand it, is a premise from where maybe we are coming and saying that, look, I'm supposed to be perfect. I'm not supposed to have any fears. I'm supposed to jump into every role. Well, it's not mandatory that every person has to join the army, is it, in India? No, it's there in Singapore. In India, it's not there. But India, it's mandatory that every person must get married. You cannot fulfill your sexual needs otherwise. And you must not just get married, but stay in it. Divorces are very loudly spoken about, are very few in our country. That does not mean that people get along with each other and they respect each other in the bedrooms. They don't. Most of the marriages are empty. That is my experience. So, can we say, Druti, this is a question for you. Does society really create circumstances which will respect us and allow you to respect yourself? Or is the society creating something where the society, the people, I'm not saying you shouldn't love and do what things that they want to do, but is it that most of our behaviors are conditioned behaviors and we haven't seen happy stories around these conditioned behaviors, and so we are resisting certain things?
I would say here I know first of all, yes, there have been societal conditioning which has always been there in our country. But ultimately, what I feel is we make a society, we create a society. If we get a change in ourselves, things will definitely change.
So what are the changes you are bringing in yourself so that the society changes?
The first thing, I am started respecting myself. The other thing I do is I have two boys. So I definitely, in the since years, if you see, we empower our girls, but we forget to empower the boys. And ultimately, society will change when both boys and girls go hand in hand. So I definitely empower my boys and I tell them this is nothing that a girl will do, or there is nothing that a boy cannot do. So even at 12, my boys cook. They help me with the kitchen. They help me in the household work. There's nothing that they wouldn't do what a girl does.
Wonderful. That's a very refreshing insight that the new India is bringing up the boys and girls with the similar capacities. I'm going to go a little bit more here, Druti. I have a friend
Yeah.
who became a pilot and she's very much part of the meta health community. But we tell the girls, you can be the pilot, but you also need to be the mother, you also need to be a respectful wife, and you also need to be this, that, and that. And then they need to be in drooling grudgery of many, many roles, which is probably never put across to a man. What are your views around that?
Yeah, that is a sad part. That is a sad story in our country. Whereas the man is, maybe it is, I would say, again, comes to the parental thing, wherein parents need to empower their boys, include with the girls. So I see many parents, the boys are allowed to do things, but the same, if the boy has to go out, he's allowed to be stay out till 12. But if the girl has to be, no, a girl cannot stay out. And if it is comes to the homework, kitchen work, the boy is not, it's like ये घर लड़कों का काम नहीं है. It's like it's a work that girls do it. So they are not allowed to step in the kitchen. They are not. I think this is an habit. If you make this as a habit, even for the boys and girls, and if it's done since childhood, definitely things will change.
Does your husband help you in the kitchen?
Sorry?
Does your husband help you in the kitchen?
No, but my kids do.
Wonderful.
My boys do.
So much. Let's go to Aarti. Aarti, are you frozen? Hello? Hello? Aarti, are you there still? Aarti, are you there? No, I couldn't feel her around.
I think
Yeah.
she's
Network problem.
problem.
Yes. So let's look back, Dhruti, and take it further a little bit into the conversation till Aarti comes back. And I hope she comes back soon, because I would really like to explore on how we could give choices to the animals here. How could we bring about, more of empowerment? And when you spoke about I'm empowering boys and girls are more empowered in our country, do you really believe that girls are more empowered in our country and boys are less empowered in our country?
So I would not say girls are empowered. Maybe they are not empowered 100%, but at least they the girls have been are being treated like boys. Okay, so what Aarti said, her elder sister was used to be like a boy and she was told, okay, you do this. Even same was with me. Don't have a brother, so I was not restricted to do anything. I was given the freedom to do things. In this process, we somewhere forget our femininity. Somewhere forget things, and we dare to do things, and we become a rebel kind of a thing. So yes, they are given a choice to move ahead, do things.
Wonderful. Aarti, you're back. Can you hear me, Aarti? Aarti, you still frozen? Can you hear me, sweetheart? Okay. The question to you is, and thank you for coming back. Uh, the energy cut, like it must have been too much to handle. Okay. So Dhruti was talking about women being more empowered in our country and men not being so empowered, and that we need to empower the men. I think what she meant to say was that we need to teach men as well as women how to respect each other, how to be in sync with each other. And because the roles are so well defined, what is man's and what's woman's, that the minute the girl is made to step over or a boy is made to step over, they don't remain in their femininity or in their masculinity anymore. They kind of turn around and they become a different species altogether. I really am interested in knowing how this impacts animals. Does it impact animals in any whichever way? And how can we create choices for animals? Because you've been talking about choices. Druti's been talking about choices and saying, we need to treat people as equal. And so, how do you get it for the animals? How do you create over there or for self?
So let me speak first about animals. Obviously, the animals don't have so much gender base as such. For them, it's not like it's a male, it's a female, or this thing. But yes, even if you see in the wild, the man is the one who goes and hunts, and the woman is the one who is with the babies. But if you see in certain animals, it's the lioness who goes, she comes and she goes and hunts, and it's the father who takes care. So they balance and they play the roles that way. In the As we are growing up, as we are seeing in our society, I think the women have to be educated in a certain manner, because ultimately it's the women who are giving birth to children, be it a boy or a girl, and then she is putting in the value system a lot. So the mothers of boys have to play a major role over here, because they are the one who are going to. Because I've seen, we always say the mama's boy, and I've seen men really actually picking up words literally from their mothers. I'll see my mother-in-law saying a statement, I'll see my husband saying the same statement. And I'm like, wow, this is, like, did your mom say something to you? And he's like, no, this I'm saying this. So there is so much similarity over there when their thinking pattern. Mother plays a very huge role, because men are the ones who go out, they work generally in a society at that point of time. Women were not working, they were at home. It's this coming in the past couple of years when women have started going to work, where women are kind of recognizing their own power, that they can equally go out and work and everything. I think that's even a conflict that's created, because now women are feeling empowered by earning the financial thing, because women were already dependent on men for financial stability. Women are having financial stability today, and that really is very empowering at the end of the day, to go and have your own money and no one questioning you how you are spending. Because if the man is giving you, he's giving you a certain amount and you have to. I think that also kind of, the financial aspect also creates a conflict in the house of how a woman is dealing with finances and everything. So I I do see that the women will play a major role in how they're bringing up their children, and how what are the qualities of equality are they bringing in the boy and the girl, that it's okay for the girl to do this, it's okay for the boy to do this. In my side of the family, when I was getting married, the women are empowered a lot. In When I got married and came here, the women are empowered, but I remember I seen my in my married family that they will say, okay, the house is more important. I know I had have conflicts where I need to go to work. So I feel that's where I felt I was not respected again. Again, the gender thing came for me. Like if my husband doesn't want to go for a wedding because his important meeting is there, that's okay. But you have to come. Your work. Then it feels my work is not important. I cannot come because I have to attend a meeting also. But no, you have to come. You will quit it because you are the woman. So when that I think comes, it's it's very important as a family, as a unit, to understand that the work and a work which is important for a man is important for a woman also. So we don't give work for women so much importance in our society yet. We expect the woman to compromise, adjust. It's the woman who's supposed to make those changes. It's very it's not put in the man, like if, I remember during the COVID times there were no servants, men were helping, but the help that the man is expected to provide is that one help, and the man is thinking, I am helping you out, I am doing this. But the woman of the house is said, you are supposed to do this, this is your role. So I think they're fitting people into roles, and that's where the people are feeling disrespected over there. The same thing with animals. We are expecting certain things of an animal. We need to understand what that animal wants. Maybe my animal doesn't want to go for a walk. We are. I've seen people letting walkers walk the dogs. How many times is that walker actually walking with that dog? The walker is on the phone. He's dragging the pet. The pet wants to. The dog maybe wants to pee. That's not respecting his me time of sniffing the world, because the animal is living his life from the nose. The other aspect of animals which I want to touch base is, which I realized with my cat Polka, because she's come into my life in June. She's been a stray cat. And what I felt, I'm giving her food. She used to stay in my mom's building, and my job is done because I'm providing her food. So her basic need is met, food and safety, because she's inside the building. But she needed love. That was not what I was providing her. And when she fell sick and she came to my house, that's what I realized, that she's such a scared cat and she needs so much of love and care. And that was what I was not providing her. I think everything of respect also goes down to a thing of being loved and accepted for who you are. I think once you get accepted for who you are, you will also go that extra notch and do for that person. That time these boundaries don't stay. It's all about acceptance. That's what is my take. What I have felt, that I felt not accepted.
Thank you so much, Aarti. That was so insightful. A lot of points came up into my head. Uh, could be one of them was more like, it's not about man, woman, animal. It's about knowing the boundaries and not crossing it. It's about understanding, and not, when you are with someone, whether it's your animal, whether it's your husband, whether it's your child, to be 100% there in that space. And if you're not 100% there, you're distracted and you're somewhere else, then it can be deep, deep disrespect. And a lot of men or women may not be in that place even when they're making love, they may be somewhere else. And that can be a deep disrespect to each other. Or we could be in the past or in the future constantly and not be with the person even though we are physically there with them. That can be deep disrespect, like you spoke about the animal being walked by a dog walker, and he not being fully there for the animal. I think not being fully there, um, whether it's your work, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your parent, or parent not being fully there for the child in the way that the child wants, I would say is the basis of disrespect, is what I'm beginning to understand from the narrative that you've given me. Let's do something interesting. Is everybody game with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, Aarti, you become the daughter-in-law, and Dhruti, you become the mother-in-law. It's very easy to say we'll respect, right? Because I hear these dialogues कि थोड़ी देर के बाद ना सब प्यार, श्यार and love goes out of the window. Okay, that's what I hear from most of the people who've been into this whole rigmarole. Now, the situation is both of you are staying together, and Dhruti, your son is married to Arti, and now he's not fully there for you. He's there with Arti, and he cannot be there for you the way he was there for you before. Not that he was there for you before also, but ever since Arti's come into his life, he's not there for you the way you would. Even if he was physically walking around, he's probably not there because he's physically in the bedroom with Arti, and when he comes back home, he's spending more time with Arti than with you. How are you going to empower Arti over there? Thank you so much. And your son. You spoke about empowerment. How are you going to bring about empowerment for your son as well as Arti? I really acknowledge your attempt. It's a very difficult question.
So honestly, I would say if I have to be the mother-in-law, I don't need to empower them. I need to empower myself and see that I am in the right space, and they are couples. They are supposed to be together. So I should be the one who should be more empowered and
And
give them the space they need.
how will you empower yourself?
The first thing is creating a boundary. Once the son gets married, there is a boundary which, as a mother-in-law, I would have to draw. Okay, this is the space. They are a couple, and definitely they will be having their intimate moments, and they are supposed to be together.
Okay, and how will you create that intimate space? Do you create it for
They have to create that space for themselves. The
Ah.
only thing I can do is I don't interfere in that space,
and how will
or
you
I
make
don't go at it.
how will you make sure that it's not just you wanting to meet your son, but it is how will you make sure what's considered as interference or not? How do you control that?
The best is not to control things.
Okay, so you just empower yourself and leave the control.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's very well said. It was a very difficult question, something people are struggling with practically 30, 40 years of their life and haven't still come to peace. So, Aarti, she is your mother in law. She's empowered herself. She's allowed you both to create the intimate space. And she thinks she's not interfering. Is that the reality, or is it her illusion that she's created an intimate space and that she is not interfering? From a daughter in law's point of view, what happens?
I think the mother-in-law, if she's staying in the same space, it's not going to be possible for her to feel that, my son is taken away. But this is a natural thing that happens with the mother, where she feels, because she being the only woman, for her to accept that now she's not the only woman in her son's life is not easy. And if they are staying in the same space, conflicts are going to happen.
What kind of conflicts are there? Would you
So
expect?
I've seen in my personal experience where my mother-in-law has told me that, he doesn't spend time with us. So it's like, crying over with me. So I said, that's not my space to interfere or me to say anything. You need to speak to your son about it. I have not told him not to sit with you. You will have your own space and time. So that's something that's actually between her and her son. But what happens is that she starts feeling this X element, which is the daughter in law. She's responsible for that. Like in my example, if I'm giving my personal example, my husband, when I was dating him, he was most of the time out with me. because we were dating. So he was out with me, he was out with friends. I remember him used to be out the whole day literally. And on Sundays also he used to be out with his friends. So he was literally out of the house. And even when even she was not actually having that intimate relationship with her son where he's sitting, chitting and chatting. She must be having that little hours in the day, but major time he used to be out of the house, either with friends, college. Obviously, we were young in college and everything. So we used to be out the whole day, entire. I remember from morning till we used to get home really late evening, have lunch and dinners used to be home. It used to be like that just. So it was not that she was 24 hours with her son. And it's the same thing now. It's in fact, I think the man becomes more at home after he's got married because that woman is also now at home, whom he's spending time with. But that insecurity within the mother-in-law comes that, oh, my son is now not spending time with me. And I think that's the dynamic between both of them, which you really need to look at.
So could it be that she's not the only woman in the house now?
Yeah, it is.
It,
And even for the daughter-in-law,
yes.
I feel even the daughter-in-law, she's come into a new space. And we
Yeah.
have really certain expectations out of mother-in-laws also. It's not only, we cannot keep blaming the mother-in-laws because
Yes.
for them also it's a major change. It's a change for me also. If I need acceptance, they also need acceptance. And they carry this burden in their shoulders, these mother-in-laws, that now the family's responsibility, the whole thing she has to learn. And because if I'm gone, you need to know all these things. I'm like, I will learn what I have to. I'll manage the way I want to manage. But they carry such a big, huge load on themselves, and I feel chill, relax. Life
Yeah.
is going to go on. If today you are there, you're not there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
So
they put too much pressure on themselves of culture, society, people. I think they're pressurizing themselves as mother-in-laws too much.
making themselves too important in their own
Yes.
space.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the importance is going down, is how they feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
For that insight. So, Druti, over to you. Still the mother in law, and your daughter in law has given you this, that no matter how uninterfering you are, as long as you're staying in the same house, and even if they've created the intimate space, Aarti feels that you're still unhappy because you're not the only woman now. You are sharing the space with another woman who you can't throw out of your house, maybe. So, how are you going to deal with that?
I think being a daughter-in-law is easier than being a mother-in-law. It's too early to enter that space.
Can you see the?
So we know we know Anu's state now.
Yeah.
Of course, every has to become a married girl and then become next and then the next and the next story. Okay. So going back, Dhruti, that's a confession and
Yeah.
let's go back and really explore this. Let's take a chance. What is there? We'll either
Okay.
or right, there is nothing wrong or right anyways, right? So
Yeah.
if you've created this intimate, they've created the intimate space and now you're not the only woman in that
Hmm.
house. Feel about it, even if that's difficult.
Hmm.
How do you feel about that? You have a younger woman who is much more prettier, much more able, much more educated, maybe much prettier because she doesn't have wrinkles on the face.
Honestly, Anu, at this time, I just feel that if she is not comfortable, then it's something that she has to deal with.
Okay, but she never said she's uncomfortable.
Mm.
She's saying that you are uncomfortable. She's never saying she's uncomfortable. She's very comfortable. She doesn't want to be blamed,
Mm.
and that you are blaming that because of her, her husband has
Mm.
been taken away from you. Your son has been taken away from you.
Mm.
That's the whole agenda. She's perfect
So
where she has a companion who is your son. They have an intimate space. What should you do effectively? Okay, let it make it easy for you, Dhruti. We send this couple out and they're not in front of you.
mm,
Yet
okay.
your uncomfortable space is still the same. There is another woman in your house.
Mm.
Now, how do you deal with it? I'm making it so much easier for her.
I think then I need to focus on my relation, my partner, and create my intimate space.
So it never was about their intimate space, was it?
Yeah.
For someone to come to create your intimate space.
Sorry.
So I'm going to go back to Aarti with the same question. Now, Aarti, this is what your mom-in-law is saying. What do you think?
She wants to create an intimate space. Very good.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
would
but
want her to do that.
since she created intimate space till now, was
I
she
don't
playing?
think so. I think once they are a certain age, they want that attention from the son. And because the son doesn't give that attention, it's a very easy way to blame someone else. It's a relationship which they need to work on.
So does she
And
see with the daughter-in-law? Does she have to create intimacy with the son, or does she have to create intimacy with her husband?
she has to create an intimacy first with her own self, I feel. Because it's about me seeing that something is not right in my space. So first have that intimacy with your own self. Knowing what is the thing, because I think there is some attachments, because if I'm talking about my personal experiences, what I will speak about is like her, because she's always sat down and spent so much time with her son compared to her husband. I think my father-in-law becomes more like a child, because do this, do that, do this to
Even
him.
husband is like their child.
Yeah, so it becomes, yeah, so first you have to have that intimate relationship with yourself, know exactly what you want out of your life. It's a loneliness which you are probably feeling, and then you need to work around, make your life, because today your son is busy with his work, he is busy with his wife, he will be busy with his friends, he will have this thing in his space, and you have to make something out of your life and have do things that you really enjoy.
Very well said. I'm actually not going to go any more in this debate because it's already 6:24, and this is again one of those topics that you can go on and speak till tomorrow morning, and people will still be hearing because their stories open up with the story. In my experience, it's about achieving balance. It feels as if this is a relationship where you're walking on a trampoline, not really on a trampoline, you're walking on a thin rope, and you're holding that stick like this, like this. Maybe all we need to do is get down from that thin rope and go down on the ground and leave that stick down and walk straight. Who's asked you to stand on that thin rope? Life is not about thin ropes, and life is not always about balancing. Life is about having a steady ground under you. I think we women and men and children have so much to explore. We are spending too much of time in these mundane things, trying to fit into roles that we never were meant for us. I'm very deeply grateful to my mother. She's there on the forum right now, actually. You cannot see her. But nothing that I say is without, I've been very, very open about my life. And the whole thing is that I could do that because she created that safe space for me. I feel that she has my back. We need at least one person to have your back. And if that one person to have your back could be your parent, you yourself, your work, and a meaning to life, and you do not then disturb other people, you allow them to have their own space. For example, ये ना करो कि किसी को इतना खुदा बना लो, चाहे वो आपका बच्चा हो, कि आप खुद को खुदा बनाना भूल जाओ. शायद ज़रूरी ये है कि खुद को देख के खुद के ऊपर काम करना ज़रूरी है. Because the problem isn't out there. The problem is, and it's not just the mother-in-law. That's just a syndrome. It's the roles. It is also the daughter-in-law. There's so much of fear in this relationship, fear which is going down from generations. That fear is more of a toxin than anything else. And that fear is, the fear is that will you be like that? Will you also fail again? Will you also not have a life which can be full of joy and fun? I do not have answers and conclusions over here to say, oh, this is a great recipe or that is a great recipe. We are all, how do you say, work in progress, and we are all in different stages of life. I would say respect the stage that you are in and respect yourself rather than asking the world to respect you. When you came into this world alone, you're going to leave this world alone. And actually, you never came alone. Your mom brought you in. And when you leave this planet Earth, your soul will go, but your physical body will be carried by all your loved ones. So, if they should love you till the end, first thing that you got to do is you got to move above all these roles that we have committed to ourselves. And we need to get out of these stereotypes and really value what we have without these labels. They seem like names of diseases which we have put on ourselves. I'm diabetes, I'm heart patient, I am this and I'm that, I'm mother-in-law, I'm father-in-law, I'm this. Why can't, why do we need to have a law in between? Why can't there be a compassion, love, and just understanding of each other? Why do we drill so much into relationships? So I would like Druti to conclude whatever she would like to say here. I would also like people on the Facebook to put down how do they think about it, and if they think there is any solution out of the disrespect that people feel in various roles. We most welcome with your comments. Hi Sabah. Hello, Minakshi, for being there. Hi, Ajit, and hi, Roshan. Thank you for being there. Okay, Dhruti, over to you.
So to conclude here, Anu, I would again agree to what you said. Like we all are work in progress, and we need to keep working on ourselves. And in the process, we need to respect ourselves first. If we respect ourselves, we will surely be able to do it to others also.
Absolutely. And I think rigidity and anywhere you're getting triggered, stop there, watch that as a red flag, and sense, see from where that is coming. Is it a conditioning that has been going on for generations and generations and generations? Like I was doing the program a few days back where I said the stepmother is always there in the fairy tales, and there is always that stepmother who's beating up the poor princess, and then she's getting rescued by the man. Are we making men here protectors? Are we making the women over here the crude ones? I never hear uh, any father-in-law lying down in the burnt ward. I only see very young women, and I only see very, very young women being in the burnt ward and being treated badly. So I'm really, really wondering, where did this all these stories come from? Disrespect to the extent where we walk all over the person, including physically, mentally, emotionally. That's not respect, guys. Aarti, what about you? How would you conclude?
For me, I think I would conclude that there are certain things we have to realize about our own self. If I am not going to respect my own self, I cannot expect others to respect me. And it's very important to be assertive and speak out what I am not liking. What we do is we suppress, and that's where the relationship starts getting sour, because we suppress it to such an extent that we have so much negative about that person then. And then we are reacting from that suppressed emotion. And then maybe that whole thing, that whatever happened, because when you are coming to a new space, there is going to be changes for everyone involved. It's not only the woman who's going through change, it's not only the daughter-in-law, it is the mother-in-law, it's the father-in-law, even it's the man. He has two important women whom he's compromising his life with, and one is pulling him here that you are not a good son, and one, I think he's actually it's the man, he's the sandwich. We are the two slices of bread and he's the cheese. And everyone wants to take a bite of it, like who gets the cheese more, you know? It's literally that.
This reminds me of a story, Aarti, which I had read in a very short stories that come, that a man fell in love with a older woman, and he already had a wife. When the younger woman saw the man having white hair, she started removing those white hairs so that he would look young. And when he would go to the older woman was really jealous that he had so many black hair. So she started removing his black hair. At the end of it, he turned bald. So now we know why so many people are balding in our country. So I think respect is not something that is found on the shelf or you can go and purchase it. It's something that you can feel. And I think respect is about being comfortable in your skin. I would only say be who you are, love who you are. You cannot control what other people will like you or dislike you. You cannot control their actions. You cannot even control your own actions. You need to respect yourself as much as you respect others. Do things for yourself that make you happy. और इतना दिल पे मत ले यार. And life will be much easier. Let's not take life so seriously that we cannot come out of it alive. So, Druti, seriousness is something that we have to leave behind, and rigidity. And that's a big thing that I'm saying, because as I'm saying it, I can feel how difficult that can be. I know we concluded the show, but I'm really tempted to ask you, is it the rigidity and the stubbornness and our point of views which are coming and distorting everything for us? Or is it our point of views?
Yeah, somewhere I would say, yes, the rigidity, stubbornness comes in if you go back to your past patterns. That can be, it is possible. And yeah, changing that pattern sometimes becomes a challenge. But yeah, you can work, everything is possible till the time you're working on it.
Wow, what do you say, Aarti?
I feel we all have point of views. We have given definitions to relationships. We've given definition how mother-in-laws should be. And we've really black labeled mother-in-laws. And we have done that. I know I have done that. I have seen my mother-in-law also changing over time. She has accepted me in a very different light. So I need to acknowledge her that she has made changes also. It's not me who's only made changes. And I think the thing about change is about us is because my glasses change. Otherwise, I'm only sitting and looking at faults. Now my glass changes because I've changed and I'm seeing there is something good about her also. And I think we can always try to find what's good in everything. It's not going to be always being going to be that we are not saints. None of us are saints. We are humans. We are going to have these emotions. And it's okay to have these emotions. I think sometimes we become very hard on ourselves because the good and the bad, we have labeled things. So the good daughter-in-law, the bad daughter-in-law, the good mother-in-law, the bad mother-in-law.
We
So
have
we all
already
have,
created, we've already created these dhanchas, these
yes,
roles, and the minute you step into them, you become one. It's
yeah,
as if you just completed your avatar into something more rigid, like you become you jump into the role of a witch or something like that. It's not the
yeah.
white, it's being the witch. Okay, so the topic for tomorrow is going to be, and as we were speaking, this is the topic that's coming to my head. What is the benefit of being stubborn and rigid? And I'm sure there's so many people who are stubborn and rigid and holding on to these roles. We need to question ourselves tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Why we need this rigidity, and why is this rigidity so important, the stubbornness so important for us? And these we are dealing with things in a fixed way. what are these fixed ways doing for us? What are these patterns doing for us? So I would really, really invite Aarti and Dhruti to be there. Of course, there'll be other people too. But I would really invite both of you to be there if you are free tomorrow at 4 o'clock. They didn't know, guys. I was just going to invite them. I told you, Aarti just came in. So today was a perfect, both of you, and created what you created, and brilliant. I must acknowledge Dhruti, Aarti, and everybody there on the Facebook who keeps supporting us. So see you tomorrow, and shukriya. Bahut bahut shukriya.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Acknowledge
Anu.
you, Anu, for doing this.
Yeah, thank you, Anu. Thank you
You
so much.
acknowledge yourself.
Yeah.
Catch you guys tomorrow.
Bye.